This is Detective Brian Ridge of the West Memphis Police Department, currently in the West Memphis Police Department with Detective Lieutenant James Sudbury. And your name, ma'am?
Pamela Hutchison.
Pamela. Spell Hutchison for me.
Hutchison.
Okay, Miss Hutchison, we're conducting an investigation into the death of 3 young boys on May the 5th of this month, on or about that date. You understand that investigation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you drove yourself up here, you're here of your own free will?
Yes, sir.
Okay. First thing we'll do is just a standard subject description sheet. I'm showing that sheet to you, just family, relatives, location, employee, and such as that.
Okay.
Okay. You have any other names you're known as?
Pamela Eccles.
Pamela Eccles. That's a maiden name or
no,
a past?
it's a previous marriage.
Okay. Social Security number?
430-270432.
And your birth date?
10/13/58.
And how old are you, ma'am?
34.
And where do you live?
2706 South Grove.
Here in West Memphis?
Yes.
Phone number?
732-4018.
And do you work anywhere?
No, I don't.
Housewife?
Yes.
What's the last job you had anywhere?
I was licensed in Oregon as a state caregiver for the adult relative foster care. I took care of my mother. She's a...
Somewhat of a nurse or
Yeah, something
aide?
like that. Like an aide.
Okay. Do you have a driver's license?
Yes, I do.
Do you know the number?
No, I don't.
Is it the same as your Social Security?
No, it's not. Someone else had my Social Security number on their driver's license, so I couldn't.
Okay. Okay. Your middle name is Joyce?
Right.
Driver's license number for state of Arkansas is 901-644840. Form shows location of arrest. You're not under arrest. This is just an interview. It's the West Memphis Police Department. Where were you born, ma'am?
Covington, Tennessee.
Okay, and it says arrested with. Again, you're not under arrest and you're here alone. How tall are you?
I would say approximately 5'5".
5'5" and your weight?
About 198.
Color of eyes?
Brown.
Black hair. Any scars, marks, tattoos, anything noticeable about your person?
No.
Are you right-handed, left-handed?
Right-handed.
The last grade of school you completed?
I have.
You ever take a GED or anything like
No.
that? You married or single?
Married.
Do you have a vehicle of your own?
No, I don't.
Is there a vehicle you drive on occasion?
My husband's.
And what kind of vehicle is that?
Dodge Aries. I don't know what year it is.
You know what color it is?
Blue.
Blue. Your relatives, your husband's name?
Eddie Hutchison.
And his address?
309 Dabbs Road.
Is that an apartment complex?
Yes, it is.
You know which apartment?
11.
That is in West Memphis.
Yes.
Ex-husband?
Jack Eccles, Senior.
And where does he live?
Lakeshore Trailer Park.
Do you know the address?
No, sir, I don't.
Any other children?
I have a daughter,
Her name?
Constance Eccles.
And her address is with you?
Yes.
Any other relatives close?
My mother-in-law, and she lives at the same address as my husband.
And her name?
Doris Hutchison.
Alright, shows date and time arrested. Again, you're not under arrest. The date and time this form was filled out is 10:28 a.m. on 5/12 of 93. A charge, there is no charge at this time. There is no warrant. Case file number 93050666. Complaint number is unknown. There is not a photo number applied to this interview. The arresting officers, there are none. Detectives assigned to this case is for the purpose of this interview will be Detective myself, Brian Ridge, and Detective Lieutenant James Sudbury. Miss Hutchison, in the reason for this interview is to learn the whereabouts of people who have been named, or any kind of information has been formed that may have been responsible or a witness to any acts of these children or the whereabouts of these children, especially for the date of 5/5 of 93. We are asking basically questions from Tuesday, which would be 5/4 of 93, all the way through 5/5 of 93 and on into 5/6, which is Thursday of 93. Do you have any problem with answering questions for those 3 days?
No.
Okay. Let's begin with Tuesday, which would be 5/4 of 93. In your normal routine of a day, what time will you normally get out of bed?
Around 8 o'clock.
8 a.m. Okay. And what do you normally do?
I usually sit at the table and drink coffee for an hour, maybe 2, and then I get up and clean up my house.
Okay.
Who's at home when you get up?
My mother and my daughter.
And your mother lives with you?
Yes, she does.
Is that the only 2 people that live in the house with you?
No, my son is there, Damien Eccles.
Okay, Damien lives with
All right. Was there anything different about Tuesday?
No.
Okay. You got up 8 or so in the morning,
Right.
drank your coffee, then you watch TV or clean house. What happened that day?
I sat there and drank coffee. My husband and I separated that day.
On Tuesday?
So there was a little something unusual.
Do you mind my asking what the reason that problem was?
Because of my ex-husband is the reason that we separated. He doesn't want him to have anything to do with my children.
Okay.
And we separated that day. That's the only thing.
That's on Tuesday. Okay. How did your children react to that?
Damien cried, but Constance, we call her Michelle, she was looking for it. It didn't surprise her any.
How old is she?
She's 15.
Did she go to school that day?
No, she did not. I had registered her in Marion School, and they didn't want her there because she had missed so many days of school this year. We had moved here from Oregon approximately a month and a half, maybe 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And they said that she had missed so much school that there was no way she was going to pass.
What time of the day was it when this occurred and the conflict began?
It was probably around, from the best I can remember, I will say 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay. All right. When that occurred, was there anything significant? Was there a fight or anything, or is it just people upset?
Just people upset.
Okay. There was no fight.
No.
Nobody was injured. Nobody was pushed.
No.
Basically, where was everybody after he left?
In the kitchen. In the trailer.
Sitting around talking about
Yeah.
the situation.
Yeah.
Was anybody especially upset?
No.
Do you remember what time he left?
No, I don't. He had everything out by 9 o'clock that night. He was completely moved out.
Was it a mutual thing that he left? Or
Yes.
Was
Yes.
it an emotional, don't go, or
No.
it's kind of a mutual consent?
Yeah.
Did he move things all through the day, or did he leave and come back and get things all
No,
at
he
once?
took it all at once when he left.
You said he left around 9 that night?
He had everything out by 9 that night. Yeah. We were packing his stuff up. And then-
during the day.
No, this was, like I said, within 2 hours, he had everything packed and loaded and ready to go. It only took one trip in the car for him to get
But
everything
then he
out.
stayed there the rest of the day and didn't leave until 9 that night?
Right.
You know a phone number where he's at now?
He's sitting right out here.
He's here.
Yes, he is.
That's fine. Okay, and continuing, you went to bed at about what time that night?
Oh, probably 12 o'clock that night.
Okay.
I'll say between 12 and 12:30.
Was everybody still in the house?
Yes.
Damien was there.
Tuesday night, let me remember. From as best as I can remember, he was there. Yeah, because the night that we separated, he didn't go anywhere. He stayed right there with me.
Okay. Your daughter.
She was there with me also.
I keep forgetting her name. I'm sorry.
Michelle.
Constance.
Her name is Constance, but we call her Michelle.
Okay. I'm going to write that down also.
Is there any
Michelle.
mention anything of either one of your children going to live with their father when he left?
No. He's not. Hutchison, Eddie Hutchison is their natural father. Jack Eccles had adopted the children. And he doesn't have legal custody.
That's the reason their last name is Eccles, because they were adopted.
Right.
Do you know of Damien or Constance going anywhere on that day?
No.
They stayed at home all day?
Damien usually goes out at Lakeshore in the daytime for 2 or 3 hours
Okay.
to see Jason. And
Did
then
he go
comes
that
back
day?
home. Yes, he did.
Okay. About what time period would that be?
I imagine it was about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'll say somewhere around 1 in the afternoon. Because he doesn't
He
usually
was
get
back
up.
by 5, 6?
On Tuesday, he came back about 8 o'clock.
Okay, at night.
Uh-huh.
Did he have any company that day to come to your house?
Jason had come to the house.
Jason.
Uh-huh.
This is on Tuesday.
Right.
You know what time that was?
It was after Jason got out of school.
Did he and Jason live together, or had he already left? You said he left around 1, is that what you said?
He went out to Dominique's around 1 and stayed until Jason got out of school. And then I went and picked Jason up when I picked Damien up,
Dominique. Who is Dominique?
Damien's girlfriend,
Okay.
And Jason, you're talking about Jason
Baldwin.
Baldwin.
Hmm.
He lives in Lakeshore.
Right,
Dominique lives in Lakeshore.
right.
Went to bed at about what time? Midnight, you said?
No, it could have been anywhere from 12 to 1.
Okay. Everybody was there.
Yeah.
The next morning.
The next morning I got up, I'll say about 15 minutes till 7,
Okay.
and drank my coffee, got a shower. Damien had a doctor's appointment.
Where?
East Arkansas Mental Health Center.
Okay. And this is an ongoing appointment, or
Yes.
is this because of something that's occurred?
No, he goes regularly.
Okay.
He was suicidal at one time,
Okay.
and they treated him for that.
Was he in an especially bad mood that morning
No,
because of the occurrence the previous
No.
day? No problem.
No.
Okay.
Said he cried when separation took place. Is that unusual for him? Does he usually show his emotions easily, or does he try to suppress them? Does he just kind of...
he usually tries to suppress them, but their natural father, had deserted them when they were both real small. And I guess he felt like he's doing it again.
Okay. Yeah. All right. After the doctor's appointment, about what time did it end?
We left East Arkansas Mental Health around 12:30.
Just after noon.
Uh-huh.
And where did you go from there?
Marion Discount Pharmacy.
For medication
Medicine.
that he has to take.
Right.
What is that medication?
Imipramine.
Imipramine.
Uh-huh.
And how does that affect him? What's the effect?
I think it just makes him sleepy.
Okay. Where was Constance at during this period of time? Michelle.
She went with me to the pharmacy.
Okay. Did
I had
he
went-
go with you also?
Yes, he did. He went with me.
All right. Bought medication?
Well, I left the prescription there,
Okay.
and I went back and picked it up
Okay. About what time did you pick it up?
the next morning.
Thursday morning?
Right.
Okay. After you left the prescription there, where did you go from there?
Back home.
Okay. And about what time did you arrive there?
I can't remember for sure, because if I think that's the day that, no, I went out to Lakeshore and left Damien again from 1 till 4
Okay. Where did you leave Damien?
at Jason's.
Okay. Can you describe to me where Jason's house is?
Well, the way I go is I go down the road that runs down by the interstate, and I go on around the curve, and it's the second street to the right, and I curve around there, and the trailer's almost at the end of the street.
Okay. You dropped Damien off at about what time?
I think it was around 1.
Okay. And where did you go from there?
I went back home.
What did you do the rest of the day?
Well, I went home and got ready to cook, and about, I'll say around 3:45, Damien called me and asked me to come get him. And he was at the laundromat on Missouri Street with Dominique.
Okay.
Jason had to mow, I believe it was his uncle's yard that afternoon, so he didn't get to spend any time with Damien because he had to go mow the yard. So I went and picked him up along with Dominique. I carried Dominique back to her trailer and brought Damien home with me. We were at the trailer by 4 o'clock.
By 4 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do you know where Jason's uncle is?
It's a street behind Granny's front porch, the restaurant.
Okay. Would it be on that street that runs by Granny's front porch?
The one that runs right behind it.
North and south.
With Park Street, meaning it could be Park.
I don't even know what the name of it was. You just go by Granny's front porch, and it's the first street.
To the
You
left.
took right.
To the
Turn
right.
to the right.
You come off Missouri Street, you go in front of Granny's and then take a right.
Right.
Okay, well, that is Park Street.
Okay. After Damien was at home, did you see Jason?
No, I did not.
All right, so it's just Jason and Damien and Dominique that you pick up
Right.
at Alexander's Laundry.
Right.
Okay. And this is about 3:45, and you take her home.
And I take him home with me.
Take him home with you. And about what time is it you get home?
Yeah, it would be just a few minutes after 4, because I just went straight to Lakeshore and let her out and came right straight home.
Okay. What occurred next?
I can't remember exactly the times, but I think Wednesday, some detectives came out to the house and picked Damien up and brought him. No, they talked to him at the house. There was
Wednesday?
What's it? Steve Jones came to my trailer. And another detective came out. And they took pictures of Damien standing outside the trailer. They went in his bedroom. Well, it's his sister's bedroom.
I'm confused because at this point on Wednesday, nobody had reason to be looking for him.
They, two officers, no, it was Thursday. Right.
Wednesday is what?
Right.
We need to iron down first. At Thursday, we are going to go through Thursday. What was Thursday?
He had, I picked him up in the laundromat and I carried Dominique home. And I carried Damien home with me.
Okay, you stayed home the rest of the day? All right. He has mentioned that you went to a Mrs. Sanders' house?
Right.
All right. When did that occur?
I'll say around maybe 5:30 or 6 o'clock Wednesday night, Wednesday afternoon.
That's when you went to that house?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And about what time did you return?
We were there about an hour, if that long. No longer than an hour because she wasn't home. Her and her husband weren't home. Her daughter was there. And we went in and sat down and talked to her for a few minutes.
All right. Where do they live?
505 Balfour.
505 Alpha.
Mm-hmm.
Susan Sanders,
mm-hmm.
And her daughter is?
Jennifer Sanders.
Jennifer Sanders. All right. You left after about an hour visit?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Where'd you go from there?
Home.
Was Damien with you?
Yes.
When you got home?
Yes, he was.
Did he go anywhere else?
No.
Did you go anywhere else?
No.
Did anybody else come and visit?
No.
Any phone calls?
Yeah. There was a phone call from Damien's grandmother. He answered the phone and then I talked with her. He talked to a girl that lives at Bartlett. I don't know what her name is. Jennifer's all I know. And he talked to Dominique.
About what time was the call from the grandmother?
I don't know because I had so many.
Is this the order, basically? The call from the grandmother?
And then a call from Jennifer. And then a call from Dominique, yeah.
So it was a call from Dominique. I take it it's going to be later on in the evening.
Right.
It's well after dark?
Yes.
And about what time did you go to bed that night?
Oh, I would say it was around 12 again.
Was Damien in bed or up?
Yes, he was in bed.
All right. And he didn't leave at all from the time you left Susan Sanders' house until you went to bed at about
No,
midnight?
he did not.
I'm not sure I understand. Did he go with you to Susan?
Yes, he did.
Did your daughter go also?
Yes, she did. And my husband.
Thursday morning. Routine, basically.
I was up doing my usual. I got up and got my coffee. Damien was still in the bed. And I don't remember for sure, but I think it was around 11 that Steve Jones and another gentleman. Well, Steve Jones came out by himself. Steve Jones came out by himself at first. And he asked me if he could use the phone. And I told him, sure. And he called somebody. And this other person that he called that I think was a detective, but I don't know this for sure, came out to the house to talk to Damien. And they took him into the bedroom, which is actually my daughter's bedroom, but he had been sleeping in there.
Does he have his own room?
No, he does not. They went into my daughter's bedroom, and they talked to him for a little while in there. And then they took him outside, and he had to show them his ID. And they took pictures of him.
Did you walk outside with him?
No, I did not. They didn't really want me out there with him. And they didn't want me in the bedroom with him.
They wanted private conversation.
Right.
Did you have a problem with that at that time?
No. As long as he's not harassed, I don't have any problem with it.
Thursday. noon or just before noon?
It was afternoon before they left. They was there for probably an hour, maybe an hour and a half.
Did you notice any kind of response in Damien after the first officers talked to him, Steve Jones?
No.
He wasn't excessively nervous or anything like
No.
that? Okay. Later, what happened after the first detectives left Steve Jones anyway? Did Damien stay at the house the rest of the day? Were you at the house?
Yes. Well, I'm not sure if I did. I might have went somewhere. I'm not for sure. I'm trying to remember here. Because I've had so many detectives in and out, I can't remember exactly.
That's the reason we feel this is the best circumstances to try to get you to remember. There's no outside interference, and you can sit here with yourself and think.
I think, and I can't remember for sure, but I think he had gone over at Jason's that afternoon. Because I do know that...
How does he normally get out to Jason?
I take him, and then I go back and pick him
Do you
up.
think you took him that day?
If he went, I took him.
Does he normally go walking?
No. I'm not in a real good neighborhood, and he does not get out and walk.
What about Jason? What kind of personality is he?
I think he's a pretty sweet young man. I've never had any problems with him.
Yes ma'am, no ma'am type of attitude. Do you know of him ever being arrested?
I don't know of him ever being arrested, but I do know he's been on probation. I don't know if he is now or not, but I know at one time he was.
You consider Jason and Damien to be best friends?
Yes, they are.
Who would be the more domineering or the head leader? That's not even a good word. If one of the guys wanted to go do something, who would follow whose suggestion most of the time?
Well, they're best friends, so they don't really, they just kind of agree on anything. If they want to go skating or go play pool or something, they just kind of, hey, do you want to do this? Yeah, let's go.
You would say, or would you say one of them would influence the other more than the other, or are they?
No, I think it would pretty much be.
On equal terms?
Yeah.
As far as time periods and whatever, we pretty well eliminated, or pretty well have a response for those periods of times. Okay. As far as attitudes, do you understand or are you aware of Damien being in a white magic group?
Yes, I am.
Okay. How do you feel about that?
I'm not real fond of it, but as long as I don't see that he's hurting anybody and he keeps it mostly to himself, I don't have a problem with it.
Okay.
Everyone has the right to practice their own religion.
Yes, I agree.
I feel like that's his religion.
Yes, I do. It's his religion. It is.
Do you encourage him with that, or you just really don't have an opinion on that?
I have an opinion, but I try to understand the way he feels.
What is your religion, basically?
Baptist.
Baptist. All right. And as far as your religion, have you tried to get him to understand your religion?
Yes, I have. He was raised in church.
Okay. Has he attempted to get you to understand his religion?
Yes, he has.
And in the explaining of this, I understand from other people that he may have animal skulls or something as symbolism in this.
This animal skull that he had when I lived at Lakeshore was just a skull that had been found laying on the side of the road. It had been there for I don't know how long, and he picked it up. Right.
And of course, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that either, because I've seen some beautiful artwork on animal skulls that I've seen at some truck stops. So I'm not condemning or saying that there's anything wrong with it.
Right.
But how does he perceive it? Is it just something pretty, or does he seem to think that there's some kind of power in.
No, I think
religious family.
I think it's just more interesting than it is anything.
Like, you would go to church on, generally, Sunday and Wednesdays to a Baptist church. Is there a particular holy day that has to do with his religion, or?
Not that I know of.
You're aware? Are there special celebration days or special times of the year that?
Not that I know of.
What about Michelle? Is she more lean to your beliefs, or does she sort of go with?
She's definitely my beliefs.
She disagrees with his.
Totally.
She's made that verbal.
Yes.
Okay, to him.
Yes.
How does he react to that?
He just talks to her like he does to me, and
He
tries to
doesn't
explain.
force this on
No,
you?
he does not.
Okay.
Is Jason of the same belief?
I have no idea.
You wouldn't know if he would be Baptist or anything of that nature?
No, I have no idea.
Do you go to church regularly now?
No, I don't.
The group. I say that loosely because I don't know that Damien is a member of a group. But if there is a group of this white magic or whatever the name is, Mecca, I think.
No, they're called Wiccans.
Wicca. Okay, I'm sorry. Who is that group consist of?
I have no idea.
You've never met any of them?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Mecca.
Not that I know that are Wiccans. I know most of Damien's friends, but who I could say is
Or is not?
or is not, I can't. I have no idea.
Who are some of his friends?
Jason, like I said, is his closest friend.
Right.
A young man by the name of Murray that I don't really know. I've never invited him inside my house. And somebody by the name of Chris, and I don't know who he is either.
Okay.
And that's basically, Damien more or less keeps to himself other than Jason. He doesn't have a lot of friends.
Okay.
He leans towards girls as far as being friends.
Okay. Basically, if you had to profile his personality, do you understand the terms introverted or extroverted? In other words,
I've heard it, but I don't know what it means.
introverted would be more or less he's a homebody. He's a person within himself. He may be deep in self-thought. Wants to take care of himself. Wants to do things for himself. Where an extroverted person would think of other people and would like to get out and communicate and take part in activities.
More to himself.
He would be the more introverted type
Mhm.
person. Okay. Does he have problems with dealing with other people?
No, not normally, unless there's like a large group of people or something. It makes him nervous.
He doesn't like large groups.
No, he doesn't.
How about yourself? Are you more open with other people, or are you more or less try to just stay to yourself?
It goes both ways. Some days I would rather be around a lot of people, and sometimes I'd rather be by myself.
This medication that Damien's on, what is his reaction to the medicine were he to miss it?
He gets extremely nauseated and he vomits. It just makes him sick.
Okay. Would you say he has a violent temper? I'm not saying a quick temper.
Only if he is continually pushed.
Okay. How about yourself?
If I'm continually pushed.
And your husband?
If he's continually pushed.
Okay.
Yeah.
But is this now the other term, a quick temper?
Damien? No, I don't think he has a quick temper.
Okay. Yourself?
Sometimes.
According to the issue, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. And father?
He's quick tempered.
All right. The stepfather that adopted Damien, how, again, on the same terms, the violent temper?
Normally he did not have a violent temper. It had to be, you would really have to push him before he would have a violent temper.
Okay.
And then it was not to the point of destruction or anything. It was just screaming, hollering.
Was there ever any physical conflict
Not between him and myself.
between him and...
Damien, I never saw him hit him after Damien got up any size. Now, when he was younger, he got a pretty good spanking from him.
That's understandable. When a child needs a whooping, he got one.
But as far as physical, no.
Okay. Do you think
was
anything?
Damien, as he was growing up, would you consider him, as far as a discipline problem, just a fairly normal young man growing up that has all the...
No, he wasn't fairly normal. He was much better than normal.
So really, as far as discipline,
He was
really
never a
didn't require
discipline
much
problem.
discipline.
No.
Was he ever, or did he ever tell you anything or any incidents about where he felt like he was abused? But when I say that, I mean like perhaps mentally or sexually abused.
Mentally abused by his adopted father.
In what way?
Damien
Um, he was quick to, he didn't give Damien, like if he was a few minutes late coming in from somewhere, he didn't give him a chance to explain why he was late. If he tripped over the phone cord and dropped the phone, he would start screaming and hollering at him. And it was mental abuse.
Did anyone in your immediate family there have a drinking problem?
No.
Okay. There was no alcoholism?
No.
Did Damien ever mention an incident to you where he felt like he was perhaps younger and sexually abused?
No.
What would you consider his IQ to be? Normal, above normal, below normal?
It is very much above normal.
Okay. He dropped out of school. Was there a reason?
He could not stay interested in school.
His attention span is very
Yes.
short.
Right. And he couldn't stay interested.
Unless it's really interesting.
Mm-hmm. And it would go according to the teachers that took up time with him and made the subjects interesting, just depended on the way they...
Does he have any particular hobbies or sports?
He doesn't have any sports. He loves to read.
What was his best class in school?
The last year he was there,
Math, English, history.
I can't remember what the subject was. I can remember the teacher, but I don't remember what the subject was.
Okay.
You mentioned earlier something about he was suicidal.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what brought that on, or what he considers his self-worth to be?
It's a lot better now, I feel like, than what it used to be. At one time, about a year ago, it didn't make him any difference if he was dead or alive.
You know what brought that on?
I feel like because he had been through so much.
As far as
I think he had been through more physical abuse with the stepfather than what I realized he was going through.
Physical abuse?
It's mental. They call it mental abuse, but to me, like I said, whenever he trips over a phone cord and he jumped up off the couch like he was going to reach and get him, I felt like had I not been there, it would have resulted in
There's
physical
apprehension of being beat up,
Right.
even though it might not have been.
Right.
The other day, I'm aware you became upset when we had Damien in here on polygraph examination.
Yes, I was very upset.
Okay. Were you made aware of the fact that he failed the polygraph examination?
Yes, I was. I was not notified that he was being taken to the hospital for samples.
Okay.
My son was kept here from approximately 11:30 that morning until after 7 that afternoon when we left here. He did not receive a bite of food.
Okay. The point I'm trying to make is that Damien is 18 years old. He considers himself to be a man. Okay. And he was asking to speak to you after we did the hospital examination, the test.
Right.
All right. Do you feel that maybe as a mother you may be, do you feel like there's any way that you may be projecting yourself as too much of a mother at this point in his life?
No, I don't. I think he needs me right now. Very much.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get to.
And I don't, as far as dominating him and telling him you can or cannot do this or that, I don't. But he has enough respect for me.
Yeah, I'm not saying he doesn't respect you, because I know he does.
That he will ask me, even though he's 18 years old, Mama, can I do this? Or
He's legally, because he's 18 years old, do you feel like he needs your protection? On worldly matters, let's say. I don't mean you have
to a certain extent, I feel like he does.
Okay, we're aware that Dominique is with child.
Yes.
All right. How has that stress? I'm sure there's no one that's not a stress for, knowing that a child is coming. How has that stress come out in Damien?
The only thing that Damien ever says about it is that he's kind of scared.
He's scared. All right. What are his plans to take care of the child?
I think he's more or less counting on me to help him take care of that child. More.
You plan to do that?
Yes, I will.
Okay. And he is aware of that you plan to take care of the child?
Yes, he's aware of that.
All right. How about her mother?
Her mother is, she doesn't really have anything to do with very many people that I know of. I've only spoken to the lady maybe 3 or 4 times. And she has a pretty hard time getting around from what few times I've seen her.
She have a stroke or some kind of ailment?
I think she had a stroke.
Does Damien resent or understand or just accept that she may not be as much help and that you're going to have to do more for the child, possibly?
I don't think he reacts to that at all. He's just
not a problem.
No.
What do you think about Dominique?
She's not my favorite person, but I'm not the one that will be married to her. So I will accept her as my own.
Was accidental or intentional on her part, or intentional on your son's part and her part? Did they not get a child? Or?
I don't think it was an accident. They weren't doing anything to prevent it.
Okay.
And they feel like they're in love. So that satisfies me. If, I'll help take care of them.
Are you aware there was a name slips my mind, a girl that your son dated before?
Deanna Holcomb.
Deanna. Did your son ever make mention about he and she wanting to have a child?
No. Well, yes, he did. Yes, he did. They were in hopes that she would get pregnant because the girl's mother had forbidden Damien to see her, and they thought if she got pregnant, she couldn't keep him away.
Okay. Was that, I understand they're split, was that split at a big conflict, or was it sort of just she went her way and he went his way?
No, it was a big conflict. It was not between Damien and Deanna,
Okay.
but between her parents and Damien. They did not like him and they didn't want him around.
How did he accept that after? I understand that they ran away together.
Yes, they did.
And after that is when she put an end to their relationship.
That's right.
How did he accept that?
He was put in the hospital.
Pretty upset about that?
Yes, he was. At that point in time, he didn't care if he lived or
Is
not.
that the only time he's been in the hospital?
No, he's been in the hospital 3 times, I believe.
Now, you're talking about a medical or
No, mental.
setting?
At Charter Maumelle at Little Rock. He has been there 2 or 3 times, and he was also in St. Vincent Hospital in Oregon.
Was that the first time he'd been in that setting? Was in Oregon?
What do you mean? What's that?
In mental.
Okay, the tape has been flipped and we're going to continue the conversation. The time is 11:07. I understand he's been in and out of the hospital. Has he ever been what you would term to be violent during
To
any of the illness?
himself.
To himself. Never outward.
No. Maybe verbally at the time we were in Oregon. He was, but it was over an incident that happened between him and his dad. It was a lot of screaming and hollering, but that's all that took place.
Your attitude for being here today, do you resent being here?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And do you mind telling why?
I feel like we're under watch because my son has mental problems, and I think that every which way he turns, somebody's going to blame him for anything that happens.
You say anything, you talking about this particular incident or just anything?
Anything in general that happens in West Memphis. And I know that Jerry Driver does not like him. Jerry Driver, when the incident with Deanna Holcomb took place, where Damien and Deanna had run off, Jerry Driver would not listen to anybody's side but the Holcombs. And I just...
Do you personally feel that your son has nothing whatsoever to do with the death of these boys?
I know for a fact he doesn't.
Okay. You feel real strong about that?
Yes, I do. And not just because he's my son, but because I know his whereabouts and everybody else that knows his whereabouts.
Do you feel like your son needs an attorney?
Because of him being questioned repeatedly, yes, I do. I notified him before I came down here.
No, are you talking about before he came out here today?
Right. I
So you
called
notified
and
him?
notified my attorney
Okay.
and Damien's attorney that I was coming in.
Did,
You understand you're not under arrest at all.
Right, I understand that. I understand.
We haven't forced you to come here. We
Right,
asked you
I
to
understand that.
Is there anything else you want to add to this interview?
something you think we need to know or something you want to tell us?
Do you think there's anything we should be checking into that maybe we haven't checked?
I think you should be checking into something other than these young teenage boys. I think these boys are maybe a little mischievous or something like that, but as far as doing anything like murdering these boys, I don't think there's any way.
I want to ask you something. It's not to anger you or to insult you, and I've asked other women this question, or men too, and I've got both yes and no responses. If you felt like your son not necessarily had anything to do with this, but had some knowledge of it, or perhaps he had something to do with it, would you feel that you would lie for him?
No, I would not. If he knew anything about it, if I felt like he knew anything about it, I would suggest to him that he tell.
Do you feel like a person that did this would need some type of help rather than just to be locked up?
Oh, yes. I don't actually know what happened. All I know...
Just rumors.
Right.
And I imagine you've heard everything in the world.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. But I think it's going to be some really sick person out there.
Yeah, I do too. Can I ask your opinion? Our polygraph examiner has expressed again that your son flunked the test.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be willing to encourage Damien to take another polygraph by another examiner? Would you allow that?
I would have to speak to his attorney and see what the attorney suggests
Okay.
or recommends.
We're making every effort to run down all and any and all alibi. Well, where Damien was, the time periods and everything. Are you fairly certain of each of these time periods that
Yes.
you've given? All right.
Particularly Wednesday.
All right, particularly Wednesday. Were I to inform you that the time period of when you picked him up at Alexander's has been explained by other methods and other witnesses to say that that time was between 7:30 and 8 o'clock, are you steadfast that it happened at about 3:30?
That I picked him up about 3:30?
Yes.
Around 15 to 4.
All right. And so these other people are in error when they say that it was closer to 7:30 or 8 o'clock.
Most definitely. They don't know what they're talking about.
Okay. So you're steadfast in your time.
Yes.
Okay. All right. At this point, as far as I can tell, I think we're ready to conclude the interview.
Unless you have anything else to add to.
No.
You are aware that this entire conversation was taped?
Yes.
All right. That's no problem with you?
No.
You had to talk to your attorney before you came here?
Yes, I did. Well, no, I did not speak with the attorney. He was in court, so I guess it's his secretary was notifying him that I was coming in down here.
Do you feel you personally need an attorney?
No, I don't feel personally that I need an attorney as to represent me for anything, or as far as that goes, to represent Damien for anything.
Has anything about our attitude made you feel like you're a suspect of anything?
No.
Have you felt comfortable talking with us this morning?
Yeah.
Do you feel threatened by us?
No, I don't feel threatened. It makes me a little nervous that, like, I'm supposed to remember Tuesday, you know, and exact times. You know, that bothers me a little bit because I'm not one to remember times exactly, but I can come pretty close.
Okay, I appreciate that and understand what you're saying. I guess we're going to conclude this interview. Time is 11:14.